looking to brew a little magic, are we? Well, come on in. I've been waiting for you. I'm Taren S. I have over 40 years experience in the magical community and a lot of different labels and titles with folks trying to explain and identify me. But I'm just an old witch, passing the magic forward. Come on in. Let's brew some magic. Hello, hello, hello. You know I'm always excited when I get to sit down and do these videos. Past couple of weeks, for those of you that follow regularly, you know I've been off busy doing things. It's the season of the dead, the time of the witch, Samhain, whatever you phraseology words you use. It's time to play with the dead. Ooh. And with that, I want to talk a little bit about dark goddesses. You know, a lot of times we equate this time period as a time of darkness, and I was talking with another witch and had a really good conversation, and I sort of want to share those highlights with you. And I also want to say that there are further notes on what I'm going to talk about at houseofwitchcraft.com. One of our beautiful bright witches, Ashiana, wrote a really touching blog, about her working with three different dark goddesses over a time period. And I thought it was just a very inspirational story. Something you know I'm always about. Inspire, encourage, and empower. And if you ain't doing that, you probably should be keeping your mouth shut. Just saying. So, we're going to talk about dark goddesses. First of all, that phraseology is a little off. Actually, they're goddesses of transformation, both gods and goddesses. Let me do both sides here, witches. They're gods and goddesses, deities of transformation. And I want you to stick that in your head, because we're going to get back to that word, all right? Because a lot of times we like, the transformation's on us. But it's also on them as well. They have been transforming and everything. For us, when we work with one of these transformative type deities, all right, a lot of times our lives get put in utter chaos because transformation is messy, witches. We don't go gently into the night. Most time it's like a atomic bomb going off on you, and preparing yourself for it and knowing that you got to walk the battlefield, honey, before you get up to the pool house. All right? You just don't go strolling up. You got to do some work to get there. So when people, it's so scary. For some folks, facing themselves is scary, all right? One of the most demanding goddesses is Hecate, however you pronounce. It is actually, both are correct. It's like a southerner and a northerner talking to each other, all right? But your life is going to transform, all right? And for some folks, that's really, really scary. And a lot of times they're not ready for it. It's one thing to sit on a porch talking about what you're going to do. But when you're out in the field actually doing the work, you're like, damn, I didn't want to sweat this much. All right, you're going to sweat that much and then some more. Okay, so it's not that... Should I be afraid? Should I be fearful? That's not what's going on here. Oh my God, I worked with the goddess, whatever. This goddess in my life was wrecked. When I hear that, what I'm hearing is somebody in which wasn't ready for the relationship, thought they were, got into the nitty gritty of it and realized, this is tough, all right? And that's what it's about. This is tough, okay? These are deities in which when you lean in on them and they lean back on you, they're expecting you to be, like I said, getting off the porch and doing it, what you're talking about. All right, you can sit and talk the talk, but when we work with gods and goddesses of transformation, they expect you to walk the walk. And in the process of that, you are going to have that utter chaos time, and that's the time of faith, which is keep moving forward, keep moving, keep doing. All right, and then you get up to the pool house. All right, you know, and I want to flip over, y'all. I'm looking down here because I got my notes about what I was talking about, this transformation. I just talked about how it affects us. Well, let's talk about these gods and goddesses a little bit, and understanding that they too have been changing. I used the example of Hecate earlier, who, it comes through us pre-Greek, pre-Roman, back into the time, absorbed into the modern day version now. How the early Romans were relating to her as a safekeeper of the three crossroads, and her shrines were, throughout the lands. All right, to how we relate to her today. Many of the modern magic folk see those three faces as Maiden, Mother, Crone. All right, the Romans, I think based on the statuary that there was there, they were seeing three maiden faces. But we also have other imagery where she's obviously mother, and then other stories, and it just gets mushy. This is one of those funky gumbo stories. All right, but what am I telling you is that she too has transformed and changed. And one witch's opinion, I think this is happening so that she can keep relating to us. All right, we're not living, excuse me, we're not living that life. We're not from, the ancient world. All right, we're modern magic folk. Our lives are different. Our pressures are different. Our concerns are different. So she has to transform to stay with us. All right, see what I'm saying? And I think if we see this story with a lot of our different deities, gods and goddesses, and Nana, comes through us from Samaria, and later on, Ishtar is linked to her. Okay, and again, this is a goddess of transformation who transformed. Go figure, who would have thought, And the long about all of this is the way I see and relate to a deity will never be the way you see and relate to deity, all right? And we need to be very careful when we are sharing, when we are asking other folks to share, and there's some slight differences, all right? If they're doing it differently than you, that's their relationship. Don't be telling them what they can and can't do. The way you do your altar is your relationship. The words you say in front of that altar are your relationship. It ain't somebody else's, all right? It's none of your damn business what someone else's prayers to Hecate are. It's none of my business what someone else's prayers to Hecate are. And if they choose to share them with me, sit there and go, yeah, that ain't right. You didn't do it right. Well, you're not supposed to say that to her. And all these other things, instead of going, wow, you have an amazing relationship with Hecate that's different than mine, all right? I know I went off on a little bit of a rant there, but we just have to be very much aware that we all get an individual, personalized relationship with any of these different entities, deities, whatever energy you're working with it, all right? My friendship with somebody is going to be different than your friendship with somebody. It's basically what it comes down to. You can use someone else's friendship to inspire yours. All right? But ultimately, you got to do you, and you've got to reach in. Now, if you are wanting to work with a dark goddess, all right, I'm going to say the same thing. You need to find the sources, not a source, sources. Start reading it, putting it together. All right, we're very blessed. In today's world, we do have access to so much knowledge, first-hand accounts. All right, it's very easy. You can go online and read the Sumerian prayers to Inanna. All right, you know, and then from there, see how it is being brought forth 5,000 years later. Okay, we can read all of the stories. Now, when it comes to you want a relationship, you set up an altar, all right? And you set up an altar, again, this is how you feel compelled. How is that god or goddess wanting you, just you? This is your relationship. Don't have nothing to do with Ginny down the street. How do they want you to set up that altar? And that's where you've got to really tune into it. Listen to those little voices. And I always say, you've already got everything you need in your house. You just got to go around, pick up all the pieces and put them together. We are constantly doing the shopping 6 months ahead of time, buying stuff we don't know why. Now you know why. All right. A lot of times these gods and goddesses have already been leaning in on us. All right. And we realize, we'll be like, oh my gosh, they've been around for a while, you know. And it's up to us to see the signs, the symbols, to get the signals, all right? And a lot of times they're subtle. You're not going to get big writing up in the sky, witch. All right, everybody keeps looking for monsters in the room and understanding it's right at the end of your nose and it's a little bitty guy. All right, that's where he is. You need to set up an altar. Get out on full moons and say your prayers, or new moons, or whatever time period you feel is appropriate. All right, and stick with it and commit to it. Most time when we're talking about these journeys, we're talking about years. Typically, if we're talking about a journey with like Hecate, we would be talking a 5 to 7 year journey. That would be what we call a typical season. You will have different seasons with different deities, entities, gods and goddesses, whatever you're going to find, just like in real life, all right? You'll be friends for a season hanging out, and then you drift over here and you get a whole new season. There are those that have lifetime commitments. They become a true devotee, give up their life to that god and goddess, all right? And if that's a journey that you're like, that sounds so cool, I want to do that. Well, you got to start with step 1, set up the altar, all right? You start with where you're at right now. That's it. Write in your journal, today's the day, set up the altar, take the journey, reach out and start learning things. And of course, I'm going to tell you to get involved in the community. All right. And if you're up in a chat room or wherever on social media that you're not, these people, it doesn't, y'all know you can leave and you can press block and delete. All right. You know, don't engage. I guess it's just leave. When I'm in a space where something's said, I'm just like, well, time for Taren to find the door. And I quietly unjoin places, quietly walk out of rooms. I do not have to educate the room, all right? I just have to educate myself. It's the only person I'm responsible for. Now, if somebody asks me a question and wants to know things, yeah, I'm happy to answer, all right? But they're already engaging me. Walking in and telling people how, oh, you have to do it this way. Honey, that's bullshit. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for that. All right? You do you. Divinity's right in here. It ain't out in any place in the matrix social media world. And there is no one guru who knows it all and they're doing it the right way. Okay? The guru who knows is you. You are your own guru, your own divine source of inspiration right here. Spend time with you. And that's what these dark goddesses are about, all right, is spending time with you. They demand that you get into the corners of your space, all right, and acknowledge your truth. And my question is, are you ready? Okay. Now, if you are, oh, honey, it's going to be an amazing journey, all right? It is one full of love, light, kindness, acceptance, understanding. Yeah. All of those higher light vibrations we find in the darkest of places. It's about being in balance, all right? You have to have both sides for it to be a complete whole, okay? And so embracing and spending a season with a dark goddess is an amazing opportunity to grow, to be uncomfortable, to be challenged, yes, and lean in doing it, knowing that when we're at our most uncomfortable, that's probably when we're doing our most growing. So I hope all those dark goddesses make all you witches as uncomfortable as possible. That's what I wish for, all right? I wish all of you to have the moment to see the beauty within you. And I do believe that journeying with the dark goddesses gives us that opportunity. All right, so I'm going to end here because I'll just sit here and talk. When you get me on dark goddesses, I'm like, honey, we're talking about the things that are surrounded by light, okay? It's back to I'm a happy dark witch, balance, okay? So seek them out with that knowledge and enjoy the journey, witch. I keep saying I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to shut up. And I will say, of course, if you are interested knowing more about what I do, House of Witchcraft, we are Crossroads Witches. We embrace both the dark and the light. We like liminal spaces. Crossroads. All right? Folkloric magic, American folklore magic, traditional witchcraft. Yeah, they keep trying to put all them labels, and yeah, they're all true. And we're all allowed to have that many labels and that many journeys. You're allowed to. All right, go fly, witch, and I'll see you next time. Of course, it never changes. It's always the same. Amen. Blessed be. Ashe and Abobo.